here. Or where I am, man, everything's not clear. I'm a weed snob, I like to act royal. I'm like borosilicate glass and hash oil. You're like swag, foiled in bad soil. I made my first batch, since then I've been mad spoiled. Bubble in the tube, I thought that it wasn't a waste, until I tried it and it fucking blew up in my face. Even when I did it right, it fucked with the taste. Butane, yo, I paid $50 for the case. Up in the place with a propane torch lit. Lifting my head until my whole brain orbits. No plain horse shit, make your nose drain more than a road drain or a cocaine snort. Yatch? Yeah. They don't know about the BBM. Shit. Wait, BBM? The butane vapor man. With another knife hit, I get higher than a kite gets. Butane hash, who cares about a Thai stick? A little oil that I cooked in Pyrex. Took some time next till it was good to digest. I don't smoke weed, I inhale vapor clouds. Always picking up, I should try and sell paper towels. Rocket hater crowd, standing on, take a bow. I excel while you fell, might as well take you out. I'll just do it as a humane favor. Y'all a bunch of haters, bunch of poop stain tasters. Y'all ain't shit, and your crew ain't greater than Mr. Taz Rock. I'm the butane vapor man. One time goes, two times goes, three times was way too many times for that. Heat gun on the banister, Dremel in the canister. Sometimes it's a perfect whip, sometimes it's a massacre. The herbal scientists oxidizing concentrates. With home appliances, everybody congregates. I made every mistake you could possibly make. Trial and error, so I swear now I gotta be great. I wanna take another king-size dab, then go and beat my seed like a mean guy's dad. And then after, I would like to take another. Yeah. And then another. Yeah. Whether you be doing that titanium vapor swing.
Welcome to the second episode of iDab Radio. We just want to thank the 710 community for all the support we got for the first one. We're shy, at least one person tonight. Tricky wasn't able to make it. Unfortunately, he's feeling ill, but hopefully he'll be on the show at a later date. But thankfully, Caliber's back, and he's here with Eli.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What do you go by? What's your glass blowing name? Eli?
He's just Eli.
He's just Eli. Right on. And we also have the master of the solventless wax, Nikka T, in the studio today.
Nice.
Greetings all. Give thanks for having me tonight, Dan.
Thanks for coming, brother. Right on. We got Ryan, and we're just waiting on Brittany Wagner to get out of work. She literally works right down the hall. So she hasn't missed a 710 yet. Just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Later on, our West Coast guest is going to be Vernon Phillips, founder of Phillips RX, winner of multiple cannabis cups. Of course, Nikka T is also a winner of multiple cannabis cups. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I just wanted to address, first of all, with you, like, there's this whole debate in the community about whether your solventless wax is dabbable or not. Just want to settle that today, and I think there's a little bit of a technique to it too. I was hoping you could show us.
Definitely. And you know, with everything, you know, with BHO, there's going to be a lot of different consistencies, and the same is going to go with solventless wax. So certain consistencies of solventless wax are going to be easier to dab than others, or easier to get on your dabber, etc. So yeah, we can show you a few different consistencies today.
Awesome. And why do you normally choose to, you know, present it kind of your hash kind of raw as opposed to pressing it into like a puck or something?
Well, our feeling behind it is we're actually able to retain a lot more of the terpenes, keeping it raw, how we do. Pressing it, generally speaking, is going to give it a little bit more of a darker outward appearance, and we're liking to keep that real light, translucent appearance about it.
Will it affect the flavor if you press it?
Definitely, and depending how you press it as well. You know, if you just press the raw hash without any heat, it's not going to affect the flavor too much. It's just going to affect, you know, how easy it is to utilize, basically. But if you are pressing with heat, which is how most people press hash, it is going to affect the flavor a little bit because you're actually decarboxylating the hash.
Huh, interesting. So yeah, I definitely like the way it looks right there. Absolutely beautiful. What did you bring with you tonight? And what's going to be our dab of the week?
You know, today I brought a few things. I think the newest thing that actually just hit the shelves right now, so it'll be on the shelf tomorrow morning, is this Real OG 70 solventless wax. I think that one might have some contention with the dab of the week there. We also have some King Chem OG 70 solventless wax. We've got some of the same. And also, I think I just grabbed a little something else. Some 120 of the New York Sour Band, because I wanted to show to you guys that not only the 70 is dabbable, but some of the 120s, some of the 38s, etc. So yeah, this New York Sour Band has been a favorite for sure.
So with that particular batch, was the 120 more dabbable than the 70 or the?
This particular batch, I'd still say that the 70 was still a little bit more oily than this 120. But we have batches where nothing's oily at all, and then all of a sudden you get down to the 38 bag and it's straight oil and dabbable. So it really depends on a lot of things: the strain, the growing medium, the growers themselves, how the trim is handled, whether it's fresh or frozen or dry. There's a lot of variables that go into that.
So what's the difference between fresh, frozen, and dry? Would you recommend that everybody makes it fresh frozen?
Generally speaking, for our process of water extraction, we prefer fresh frozen material. However, depending on the grower, we've been able to get some amazing product that rivals the fresh frozen material with our dry material. I would just say, generally speaking, we prefer fresh frozen because if it's fresh frozen and given to us, we can guarantee a melty, oily end product.
Nice. So I know recently you did some work for Green Dream. How'd that turn out?
It turned out really, really nice. We got the terpene preservation coming through it. The one downside was that trim, that specific batch, had actually been sitting in the warehouse in the heat for quite a while. And so, part of what we do at Essential Extracts is we help consult the grows on how to keep their trim better preserved for our process to preserve terpenes better.
Yeah, we find we have to educate people a lot too, but Green Dream just preserves it perfectly for us.
Definitely. And their trim was probably some of the most sugary trim we've seen in quite a while. Their yields were definitely very nice as well.
I'm getting sometimes between 15 to 20% from their trim.
I heard even a bigger number, that you might have hit maybe 23% on your AFGUI.
Really?
That's what Green Dream told me anyways.
Nice.
Maybe that was their marketing tactic with me. I don't know.
I like to be modest. Actually, we do so much work in a week that it's hard to keep track. But Adam over at Green Dream, he's the manager there.
Yeah.
He actually has data going back more than a year on every single yield from every single strain. Someone hopefully will use that sometime to explain something.
That's what's up. When we first started working with them, probably 2 years ago now, we probably helped them add a little bit of their water data in there.
Nice. I'm just glad to keep track of it. Not very many places can.
I love doing it just for me, to be honest. I don't know who's going to be using it from here on out, but I use it daily.
Yeah. I don't know. I think just sometime after we collect enough data, you could actually be put into a usable table where we could predict yields from different strains.
Definitely, and it's going to be difficult because, even if we have the same strains, how are we going to tell who grew it, what medium? There's so many other variables other than just the strain itself. Definitely,
but I think if you take a big enough statistical sample, we could definitely get some usable data. And we welcome Brittany Wagner to the show. We kept you late today, huh? Right on. You're just in time. You're actually going to be dabbing some solventless today.
Oh, sweet.
And I know you've done this before, so do you have any advice on how to go about doing it?
With the solventless?
Yeah, with the solventless.
I just like to make it a little bit more hot, the nail.
Wait, speaking to the microphone.
I like to make my nail a little bit more hot than how I would do it with regular, a solvent.
Should I load you up here?
Yeah, definitely. It's coming up on that time, I think.
That sounds like usually the best.
What up?
We got about 5 minutes still.
Okay, right on.
We're all a little excited for 710 to roll around, I see.
All ready to go. Oh, wow. Look at that piece that Earl Ripper has. Badass Mad Rob rig. Everything you need right there.
Oh, is this
Fish
Earl
built in.
Ripper?
That's Earl Ripper.
Okay, all right.
Phil
I'm
Philman.
trying to figure out all these nicknames. Everyone's got a different name these days. Can't even remember my own name half the time.
Wow.
Yeah, they seem to be dabbing pretty fierce over there.
Yeah, sorry, that was a big one, Brittany. I hope you're prepared.
What is this one?
That's the newest one to hit our shelves today. It is the Real OG 70 solventless wax.
Nick has the best OG.
He does. Almost like strongest competition in the state right now, and
Hey man, when I came
I have to
here
give you props.
10 years ago, originally to Colorado, there was no OG Kush here, and me being from California, growing up on OG Kush, as I'm sure you're very similarly adapted as I am, I needed my OG here.
Yeah, I agree.
So
when
a few
I was
years
considering
ago,
moving out here, that was one of the major things I was on the fence about. Like, there's not going to be OG every day. Can you do it?
I'm trying to make it happen every day, man. But yeah, a few years ago when I started, working for a few centers here, I made sure that they had OG Kush genetics in their garden, and it's helping me today.
Nice. And I got to say thank you for, making Marijuana happen out here.
That sounds so bad, but Marijuana OG, the strain, is what you're talking about.
I'm talking about Marijuana OG, yeah.
Some of that in my bag right now.
I think we all do.
And mad props to Johnny from OG Genetics. He's the man behind that one.
Yeah, I got some of that.
Yeah, I used to get that when I was managing Kind Meds in LA, and that was our most popular strain. And just to have it out here again, it makes me so happy. Because it's the most narcotic OG. It is very heavy. It'll make you sleepy.
Definitely, and it even hits a little CBD, which is kind of rare for OGs.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've really been enjoying that from the Pink House. Good job.
That's what's up, man. Good thanks. Big up to Brian and Travis over there in the warehouse, doing a great job growing these genetics. All organic soil, water fed. I couldn't have asked for a better center to carry some of the genetics that I brought over.
What all did you guys win this year at the Cannabis Cup?
This year in Denver, we took home a first place in Indica for our SFV OG. That's actually give thanks to Rare Dankness, Scott at Rare Dankness, for that cut. He was nice enough to, after years and years of me begging him for some kind of OG cut, he hooked that one up for us, and we thank him for sure for helping us win that. We also, as a whole, Pink House took home, I think, a third place or a second place in Best Booth. Essential Extracts took home third place in Best New Product for the Essential Bags. Essential Extracts also took home first place for Best Non-Solvent Concentrate, and that's all under the Pink House title. We actually took home one other for our Patient's Choice Award. We tied with the Clinic. Brittany over here works for the Clinic, and we tied for them for our Super Silver Haze for our Patient's Choice Award.
I remember that one. That was really, really stinky. I mean, it was totally good.
Usually when I see Super Silver Haze, it's not the best strain. It's doesn't have a very distinct smell, but it's super strong, super high sativa. So just that's an amazing cut you guys got.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because the cut that I grew up with in California is completely different. It's more of like a funky, poopy, sweet type of haze smell, but not as hazy, not as lofty in the haze region, more deep and earthy. And that's the Super Silver Haze I was used to, and this cut that we're running now is a little bit different, but the frostiness of the cut that we're growing right now is kind of ridiculous.
Here comes the dab of the day. What is this again?
This is the Real OG 70 solventless wax.
Nice. As you can see, it is totally vaping.
Now with the solventless wax, there is a little bit of char left over, a little bit of residue compared to some of the solvent extracts, and that's just from the encasing of the trichome head. And to a lot of us, to some of us, it bothers us that there's a little bit of residue. But the upside to it is, we're getting a little bit of residue, but we don't have any tickle. It's a lot smoother, generally speaking, than most solvent extracts. So we think that it's worth it.
Nice. So, let's talk to Brittany about that.
Sorry, I've been so quiet. So what do you like to usually medicate with, Nick? Do you do like a hot shot? What do you use usually?
You know, I've been known to dab. I've been known to dabble in the dabs a little bit here. So you know, when I'm running low on time, I oftentimes take a little dab of something. I also am really enjoying all the new vape pens out there. My personal preference is the Indie Vape or the Atmos Raw, because I can just take a little bit of solventless no matter what grade, and I can just toss it in there, press a button, and smoke or vaporize, depending on the different utensils you can add to that device. But my preferred method is still within spliffs. I like to just crumble a little bit into my joint, into my spliff, and smoke it like that. That's my preferred method.
Nice. And just to set the record straight, what is your opinion on BHO?
My opinion on BHO?
Yeah, your official position.
My official position, yeah, because I guess there is a lot of people think that I hate BHO out there and I'm against it. Yes, we do make solventless extractions for a living, but I have nothing against BHO as long as it's done properly. My main issue with BHO is I'm out there trying to spread safety. I want it to be done properly. I want it to be purged properly. I want people to be safe while they're processing it. And as long as, you know, a lot of those variables are met, or all those variables are met and then some, I think that it's an okay thing to be doing. I think it's an okay thing to be consuming. I myself consume it. I don't consume it every single day. You know, I consume a lot more flowers, to be honest, these days. But my official opinion on BHO is if it's done properly, it's okay by me. It's such a new phenomenon right now that a lot of people are just trying it in their backyard or even in their kitchen, which is dangerous, for the first time because they saw a YouTube video, and there's just not a lot of information still out there on BHO and how to process it. So, you know, my standpoint is just I err on caution.
Yeah, I agree. That's a completely, you know, legitimate, respectful stance to have on it, you know? Like, I don't know why there's any controversy about it in the community right now.
I feel like I say it pretty clear.
Yeah, right?
and I agree, safety is the #1 issue. I've personally caught myself on fire, and I know what I'm doing. I've been running BHO for like 3 years now, and I'm really pretty good at it, but I don't even do it myself anymore because I'd rather let somebody else that has all the equipment and all the safety measures set up and all that do it for me, and I'll just get it from them.
Yeah, I've been talking to a few people that have that same opinion. Just you know, the patients that hit us up at our different shops.
Yeah.
I think safety is the key in everything in this aspect in the industry, you know, even from growing the plants to the flush to even proper water hashes, people cleaning their bags properly.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
I've seen a mold in some water bags before, and it was like, man, just clean your dang bags out, you know. It doesn't take that long to be safe.
It's a big issue if you're not anal about it. We try and be super crazy about our cleanliness in our laboratory. You know, every single time we run a batch, our bags are cleaned immediately afterwards.
Right.
You know, certain precautions like that are a must in our industry.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's one thing that we want to say on just every single show. Never do anything inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never,
not.
under any circumstance,
Solvent-wise.
do anything inside. Yeah, solvent.
Yeah, right. I mean,
You want to keep your room temps cool.
is that a problem with some of our California listeners with some of the laws out there as far as making solvent hash? I mean, is that a problem with, you know, them pushing them inside?
You have so many people living in Los Angeles that you could literally not know anybody that lives in the house and have a complete group of friends and an active social life. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So some of these people that are desperate for money in, you know, a much tougher economy with way fewer jobs, they'll, you know, do anything. Unfortunately, they'll try to do it in their kitchens and their houses, and, you know, blow the doors off their refrigerators.
Yeah.
This has happened, and people have gotten really hurt.
And yeah, the thing with
we got to acknowledge that as a community and make sure it doesn't happen.
the thing with the fire is it wasn't my fault that the fire happened. It was somebody else that came to my house while I was running butane right then. Somebody had came over right then and came in the room, like busted in the room. Static happened and it caught on fire.
Yeah,
So
you
it was
shouldn't be in
static.
a
So
room.
you were actually inside then?
I was
So-
inside, but I had a static-free room, and it was well ventilated. I had an in fan and an out fan, and it was all covered in plastic and static-free. And I was in a Tyvek suit before I went in there and static-free. Like, I was grounded while I was running it. So
I think
Yeah.
that's the whole thing about a room is you know, shit will happen.
Shit will happen.
If you build up a large enough concentration of it in your area, like anything can happen. You know?
And the only thing that happened is like I discharged the room, and when he opened the door, it created a static charge in there, and it caught my butane on fire instantly. So.
And that's the thing. If it wasn't that much of a concentration because you were outside, then that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So I have a few questions for Nick. How long have you been doing this hash game? When did you start, and how did you know this is your calling?
I don't know if I exactly knew this was my calling when I first started, but it's definitely something I've always been interested in. I mean, I grew up in Northern California where cannabis, and not only cannabis, but trim, because of the huge outdoor population in California, is prevalent. So I grew up in a place where it was around me. I grew up in a very liberal family. My parents were always okay with me doing whatever I chose to do because I proved to them that I could continue to, you know, finish school and do everything I needed to do with cannabis in my life. So basically I've always been around it in Northern California. I think about, you know, 10, 12 years ago now, I probably first started contemplating processing my own hash because I was smoking a lot of that black gooey hash in Northern California. And, you know, the potency was there and it was nice to blend in my joints, but I felt like it could taste better. I felt like it could taste more like the flower, more strain-specific tasting, and that's kind of what really pushed me to start doing this. So, you know, growing up in California had a big part as to, you know, why I started making cannabis concentrates. But also about 7 years ago now, I went to Amsterdam to study more on it after I'd been playing around with making some water hash in my house. And Mila, you know, one of the creators of water hash, or the pollinator and isolator products, she really pushed me to a different level. She taught me a lot of oral tradition that I still don't see in books. And so, you know, she taught me a lot.
What do you mean by oral tradition?
By oral tradition, I mean stuff that she personally spoke to me when I was hanging out with her for hours on end in her laboratory. Stuff that she doesn't write in her how-to manuals. Stuff that she doesn't give out to the people she sells the bags to. Just strictly, you know, word of mouth information straight from Mila's mouth to me, and that stuff taught me a lot. Specifically, one of the most important things that I think she taught me about 7 years ago was the rinsing process. And what I mean by rinsing process is after we've collected the trichomes in this different silkscreen bags, we actually take some pressurized water, cold pressurized water, and we spray through the bags, further cleaning those trichomes off for any debris or any excess stuff that might have stuck to them, and then that'll fall through the bags once it's broken off. And that was one of the most important things that she taught me, because I can even remember as far as 7 years ago when I was first starting to make, you know, hash on a bigger scale. I realized that every single time I rinsed, no matter what, I would have melty product. My product would bubble. My product would melt. Even if I was working with poorer quality to higher quality, that rinsing process really, really helped me get more pure products out of my original material. Yeah, I guess to conclude, growing up in Northern California, speaking with Mila, and now, you know, living here in Colorado with the booming industry is really what's pushed me to be here and do what I love doing.
That must have been awesome to see her in San Francisco.
Yeah, it was amazing. In fact, I got to hang out with her here in Denver real briefly, and was able to almost introduce her to a lot of people there because I happened to be one of the only people she had met in the little circle here in Colorado. So, you know, it was a nice interaction between us. We had a great time together. And, you know, after that, 2 days later, I was in San Francisco, and I ended up getting a call from Mila saying she needs a ride to the High Times house. So I ended up hanging out with her a little bit more in the Bay Area. And the more time I have with Mila, the better for me.
So are you going to Seattle? Did you hear that they're going to have a cup out there in September?
Yeah. It's definitely the plan. I'm having fun at these cups. I want to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. I just got asked to be on the dab panel out there. So
that's what's
I'm
up,
definitely
man.
going to be there for sure.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So, basically, somebody has a question for you. Did you guys use actual buds for your cannabis cup entries, or did you use
I used trim. It was trim.
So Daniel Desai's used trim, and we used trim as well. Yeah, we actually used a mixture of different trims and different grows because we actually didn't have quite enough the amount of trim that we wanted to enter.
Do you guys see bigger yields with trim or bud?
I think the yields would be bigger with bud, but the thing is, we're not going to get buds doing what we do unless there's something wrong with them, because the centers would rather just sell their buds.
As in like seeds or, you know, stuff like that.
I mean, that's why, you know, a lot of these home growers can, you know, make their concentrates from their own runs, and they'll be absolutely stellar, amazing, you know. But if you get a shop that has good trim, like Green Dream, like the Herbal Cure, you know, those kind of places, if you get trim from them, I prefer working with trim. I do.
Their trim's almost
and you know,
smokable.
this
on that
answer is
matter.
going to kind of differ between Daniel and myself as well, because we have completely different processes from solvent to non-solvent. So Daniel's favorite trim may not be my favorite trim, and vice versa. You know, sometimes if I get fresh frozen trim, the way that some center dries it may not be preferable for Daniel's process, or I may get dry trim and it may not be preferable for my process. I'm stoned. What was the original question?
How much yield do you get off of trim versus
Yeah,
bud?
so we actually prefer to use trim because we're going to get a larger surface area from trim compared to bud. But if we do get fresh frozen bud, and maybe even airier bud that's fresh frozen and still has the trike content that a properly grown product would have that we got the trim from, I think that we get definitely a better product, a better yield, etc. But like Daniel said, most of the time when we get bud, it's, you know, something was wrong with it. It was either taken down early because they had a heat issue, you know, it was heat burnt, or
Seeded.
it had seeds. You know, there's a lot of issues that we see. And now, granted, I think both Daniel and myself agree that we don't take any product that has any mold or mildew or anything like that. So that's not what we're talking about when we speak of problems. But, you know, we do see problems that we are able to process, and we're able to process it well. But, you know, it will have an effect on the yield, because oftentimes when there are problems with the plant, it's going to affect the yield of the trichome production itself.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my dream batch of material to work with would be a bunch of little larvae buds. That would make the best stuff on earth.
Exactly. I think my dream would be airy larf that's fresh frozen and covered in trikes. You know, but yeah, and OG, of course.
Yeah, if it's OG trim, I think we both want it.
Yeah, we're gonna be fighting for that one till the day.
So, Nick, do you have any problems with the heat going on right now?
Definitely. We did. Right now, right this very second, we're not having any problems, luckily, because we were able to control the variable that was happening. But when those 105 days hit, definitely we had a little issue. Our AC went out in our building, in our drying unit. So temps, you know, that are normally controlled between 60 and 70 or 60 and 69 degrees Fahrenheit, you know, we've got a nice control, jumped up to 80, 85 all of a sudden on us, and we definitely, you know, mushed out some product, as we like to call it. Nothing was ruined, but we did get a little bit of a different consistency that we don't particularly like as much. But you know, to be honest, some of our patients were like, whoa, this stuff's cool, you know, because it was different. The problem with running into heat issues and doing water extractions are that if you process something and you put it to dry immediately in 80 to 100 degree heat, you're gonna have problems removing that water. So basically, in the heat, it actually will add humidity, and it'll help to suck in moisture into that product, and so it'll take a lot longer to dry the product in that high heat environment, which basically in turn will kill terpenes. For our process, the faster we remove the water, the more terpenes and terpenoids we're going to retain. So when we have heat issues like that, we're not able to retain as many terpenoids.
That's interesting. So you're saying that if it's too hot, it dries slower.
Yeah, and it really depends on the type of resins, but I'd say generally speaking, sometimes when it's, you know, too hot in a certain type of environment, it will dry faster, but when we have these high heat days, we also have high humidity days that go along with it in Colorado.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're experiencing out here.
Just a quick question from the chat room.
Yeah, we do have a quick question from the chat room.
Speaking of the mic.
What is the this is for Daniel. What is the best temp to vac purge, and is it important to vac purge over 30?
You can't go over 30, and especially when you're way above sea level like we are, you really can't even touch 30. The highest we can go is 27 inches of mercury, or 9 MPa, which is the other unit they use to measure a vacuum. So there's absolutely no way we can go above 27 because we're so high up already. We're called the Mile High City, you know, the pressure's lower up here. So to get to true vacuum, you have to travel less of a distance on the meter. So it'll always say 27. But as far as temperature goes, less than 120. I've heard a lot of people that are doing really long vac purges now, like overnight. They're using 80 degrees. So
For the cities that aren't mile high.
then you should be able to hit 30. Just make sure you have a two-stage vacuum pump. And just a little tip, if you are in the market for a vacuum pump, the best thing for you to do is to look up your local Robin Air distributor and get one that's actually used. Hold on a second. About 10% for your yield on average. So anyway, when you go into the Robin Air distributor, you can actually buy a pump that's been used and its microns have actually been tested, because the company Robin Air will guarantee that it'll pull 40 microns or less. You can actually get them to where they've been tested to be pulling 10 microns. So you can get an extra powerful pump for half the price.
Somebody says that they're vac purging in the French Quarter. Sorry. Somebody says that they are in the French Quarter and they are purging there and they're below sea level. So how far can you go with that?
That is an interesting question. I am not sure. I mean, I know you'll at least be able to pull 30 inches of mercury, but yeah, I have no idea. That's interesting. I'd love to, try that experiment when New Orleans goes medical marijuana. Do you have to go to commercial soon? Right on.
Just letting y'all talk.
Yeah, our producer is not telling us that we have to go to commercial, so.
Somebody believes that we should have a host that's not dabbed out.
I'm sorry, every host here is dabbed out right
Yeah,
now.
we're all dabbed out.
I just said they're not good spirits. What about Boz Higgs over there with his butter voice?
Yeah, he hasn't been
That guy
talking
that's
much.
saying something about being dabbed out. It's not dabbed out.
Yeah, what do you think about this vac purging?
What do I think about it? I think Daniel said all the right things. With the Robin's Air, that's the right thing to do with the used pump if you're on a somewhat of a budget. Even if you're not, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I have to give Ryan props. Like, of everyone I've ever taught how to make butter or oil, he's just killing it. He really is. Like, he has it down.
Well, it's good teaching, so it's not too
What's
hard
up?
when you have a good teacher.
Lately, half the pictures I post were actually finished by Ryan.
Yeah, nothing like the good Earls.
Nice.
So I guess we're going to take a little commercial break right now. When we come back, we're going to check out some new Swagger pieces they have in development. Apparently, Swagger's going domeless. So after this short break, we'll be back.
Marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
Black Eyed Pimp Remix.
Rock your body.
The clinic is proud to announce the 3rd annual Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament benefiting the Colorado MS Society. The tournament will be held at City Park Golf Course this coming August 11th. There will be some incredible prizes, including an opportunity to win a trip for 2 to Hawaii. The trip includes airfare, 8 days, 7 nights at the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua, including 4 rounds of golf and $1,500 spending cash. Thanks to the incredible support of Weed Maps, Hetty Glass, Rocky Mountain Hydro, T. Meyer & Stitch, Dixie Elixir, and MMJPrinting.com, we're able to provide awareness to this incredibly difficult condition that so many Coloradans are suffering from. The event will be covered extensively by our favorite industry media outlets, Culture Magazine, The Hemp Connoisseur, Kush Magazine, and of course the amazing people at iCannabis Radio. Please register at thecliniccolorado.com or at any of our 6 convenient locations throughout the Denver metro area.
The law offices of Edson Maton and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
iDab Radio.
Thanks for watching tonight. We're going to check out some of these new rigs. Caliber's going to show them off to us. But first of all, I just have to show like something I had him make me. Made me the most badass rig. You can see it on the iDab Radio page, I think.
Hey, before we get to glass, I hate to interrupt, but we got a special birthday dab for Ricardo 1. We got one for you lined up with some East Coast Alien Shatters, the fire.
Nice.
Girl Ripper has something to say, damn it, he's gonna say it.
Whenever he does finally have something to say.
Yeah.
He's usually too busy over here in the corner dabbing everybody to death.
So what's this about? He gets a dab for somebody else's birthday?
Yeah, totally. They're not here, so it's a dab in spirit.
What's his dab quota today? You guys got a dab quota for him today?
Last time he hit 25. You know, we're just gonna raise it up incrementally. He needs to hit 30 today.
He's really slacking. I think he's only up to about 12.
Oh, we gotta
step your game up.
Are we like, can we sign up for this dab?
What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, all right, I got a few questions from the chat room.
Okay.
Sorry, okay. All right, so basically, people in the chat room want to know, what is your favorite whipping style, and do you like to whip it? Should you?
Whip it.
You know, like the butter is the first product we really started pushing out there. I do like to make butter. I really do.
Yeah, people in the chat room want to know.
All you need is a strong metal stick. You can even like cut up a coat hanger or something, you know. But we use surgical steel, and the key to it is to actually scrape it all up off the plate, make sure it lands in the middle, and then whip it with your metal tool.
Say that whipping it adds more water.
I don't think so, because we actually, we whip it up once, we vacuum purge it so it practically looks like shatter again, scrape it all up, whip it again, and that ends up being the butter. So no, we actually vacuum purge it. It's even like a more solid consistency than typical butters after you vacuum purge, because there's not really any craters or holes in it at all. It's just like one big solid piece.
There's been a few pictures going around of the new technique of the, vacuum purging it. It looks like wood grain. There's just no really holes in it. So, I mean, it's clean. It's really clean.
Yeah, exactly. It just comes to a consistency issue at that point. And I know there's a lot of members of the community that prefer shatter over butter, and I actually do too. But, for a novice medicator and even some people that, just find it easier to work with, actually prefer butter. So we make it for them.
I like it because it's not as choky, because I think shatter is more condensed, so it just chokes me out more than butter. So I'd rather smoke butter.
Huh.
I have asthma and I like butter more than shatter personally.
It's because you're taking too big of a dab, maybe.
Well, I think it also depends.
And I take giant dabs, so yeah, it probably is that I'm taking too big of a dab, but I don't know, compared to like shatter compared to butter, man, I have to take a way smaller dab because, like I say, it chokes me out. Like, I would like to take a bigger dab of shatter, but I just can't do it.
I'm in the same boat.
I think it really depends as well, because I've seen people, during their process go from, purging completely and getting shatter, and I taste it and it's shatter, it's completely stable, but when I taste it, I get a little bit of something like there's a little bit of trapped solvent in there. So what we do with that shatter is, we take it and we'll continue vacuuming it, we'll continue heating it just a little bit more and vacuuming it, and we'll see a teeny bit more reaction. And by doing that, it'll start auto buttering most of the time if you take it from shatter, with a little bit of heat. And to me, it's smoother that way. But there's the other side where if you completely purge it properly and it becomes shatter, it can be a lot more smooth. I think there's a lot of variables in that as well, so it's tough to say whether one's going to be smoother than the other.
They really are, and the better the material is you're working with, the more difficult it'll be to work with. Is something I found too.
Exactly. Oftentimes the more oily the material, like some of the sour diesels and OGs, it's going to be harder to purge that product. It's going to be harder to purge it properly as well, because the solvent actually is getting trapped by those oils because they're so dense and so sticky. It's harder to remove them.
I think we were talking to Wheezy about that last week, actually.
Yeah.
Me and Wheezy are homies. You know how we do.
Wheezy's a good dude.
I have a couple more questions. Iron folding in parchment? Question mark.
Wait, what's the question?
Folding in parchment.
I can't understand what you're saying. Iron folding in parchment?
Maybe he's asking, like, do you fold it in parchment and put an iron on it, to flatten it out?
No, check it out.
Tell him to rephrase the question
yeah,
properly.
Totally. There's I don't think folding is a word.
I guess our listeners are dabbed out too.
Right on. Well, let's look at some of these rigs actually.
Yeah, let's get to the glass.
Yeah, I really want to check out the glass.
Well, I mean, you guys have been seeing me, dab out of this domeless nail setup. I'm not even sure what to call it yet, man.
I think this one is called a periscope.
Yeah, that'll work. And
we don't
then,
have like a light for it.
Yeah, we don't have a good light for it anywhere, I guess.
Sorry.
Oh.
The only thing is, I think Earl Farms currently got a rig that they call the Periscope that is domeless as well. So
doesn't it kind of look like that though?
It is. Yeah. It does kind of look like that. We're trying to get it to be more over the top of the nail so that you lose a little bit less vaporized smoke and material, and it's a setup to where you can use different setups on it. You can have a dome and nail setup if you want to. It's a direct inject, or you can have a flower bowl on it if you want, or whatever you want. If you want to, you can use the thing on the side for your dabber holder.
Yeah, that's too bright.
But But yeah, these are a couple of products that we're currently working on with the Doer Seal. We've got an 8-arm tree perk. We've got Circ perks.
Too bright.
All the worked perks are gridded. Our clear ones aren't, for the most part. The clear ones are base model product. They should sell for around, I'm thinking around 150 retail or something like that. And the worked ones that don't have the domeless nail setup on it, that are just worked, that have a flower setup or whatever, just a regular setup without all the attachments, are going to go for $250, and then with this setup it's 300 retail.
Nice. Who's doing all the work on the pieces?
Actually, I am.
Right on.
So yeah, most of the ones that you get worked will have Swagger labels on them. Will probably be tie signed by me.
Awesome.
So
yeah, I love this color.
And then Sean over at Swagger is working on smaller microns with 8-arm tree perks, and we're doing a couple of small ones with a Circ perk in that also. So it'll come down to a small Circ in the bottom, very minimal water, great for oil. We're trying to come up with a lot smaller, more affordable product.
Nice. I mean, I think your product's worth what you're charging right now, though, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember what the microns go for, but I'm sure that they're not that expensive either.
And I'm sorry, my piece is dirty, but it's actually a Swagger piece too. This is my travel pipe.
I noticed that when I came in. I thought that was pretty cool.
The listeners say that you guys have a really badass YouTube page.
We have a YouTube page?
Swagger Glass on YouTube is tight, it says.
I was unaware that we had a YouTube page.
I think someone came through the studio and filmed donking them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chris came through and did a thing for Swagger on YouTube, I think. Yeah. Now,
nice.
Now I remember.
So, you haven't figured out a name for this guy yet?
Somebody did that for me, like right off the rip this morning when I posted a picture of it, because I was up. I did a 24-hour run yesterday while I was blowing glass, so I was still up at like 8 a.m. And right after I made the dome, I posted a picture of it because the piece was already out of the kiln, and I could make the dome and set it down for a minute to cool off and put it in the kiln later. So I posted a picture of it, and somebody called it a turret dome. Like a gun turret.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I like that.
That works pretty good.
I definitely
for me.
like that.
That is sweet. I wish I could take a rip off of it.
I have a clear one. I had a clear one of those to bring with me to show you guys how that one worked too, but I actually forgot it at the shop. I made it and we used it and we were so stoked and it was time to go, so I ran out and left it sitting on the bench.
Yeah, thanks again for filling in for Tricky. I hope he feels
no problem,
better.
man. I hope he feels better. I'm sorry that he couldn't make it. I'm sorry that I had to fill in for him.
Well, thanks for stepping out, man.
Yeah, no problem. Huh? Oh yeah, no problem.
Is this your first time hitting a domeless ride?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I want your opinion on this one.
We'll see.
It does lose a little bit of smoke on that one, but like I say, that one is a prototype. Like I just made that
leave
really
this
quick.
over here while you're getting it hot.
You don't really have to, man.
No.
I mean,
like that.
Because it's clear. If it was a worked one, I would say, yeah, move it over, but that one's clear. I wouldn't really worry about it because you're not actually heating the glass up, you're heating the nail, and it is boro, so it can withstand, but we keep it at 1050 to work it, and it doesn't even get to where it moves until about, 11 to 1200 degrees. So, as hot as that butane torch gets, it's not going to melt that glass.
Nice. How about one of those the big guys?
Oh, the big propane blue torches or any of that? I probably wouldn't. With the clear one still, I would say it's not that big a deal. Like we have a birdhouse dome at home, and it has just a lip coming off of a ball with a hole in it, and we dab right on the lip, and all of that is boro, and we heat that with a propane torch every time.
Yeah, it's just boro, it'll break eventually.
It will break eventually. It depends. Like sometimes it gets seasoned and it starts looking like quartz, and once it starts to look like seasoned quartz, it's pretty much seasoned and it's okay, and you don't have really that much of a chance of it shattering.
Nice.
But it can shatter like instantly. I've had the glass nails shatter instantly as soon as you touch them with the fire, so it can happen.
So who's this guy you brought with you this time?
This guy that I brought with me this time is Eli. He's one of the guys that's working in our shop. We got him learning new product, I was just training him on these bubs yesterday, as a matter of fact.
So is he like an apprentice, or we consider him a journeyman?
No, he is an apprentice. He's just learning how to do it. He was working at Rob's shop in Florida for I don't know how long. How long were you down there? 4 months before he came up here. He came up here with Rob and.
Nice. So how do you like Colorado?
Colorado is awesome.
Good answer.
We're really lucky to be here.
We are.
Definitely truly blessed to be here in Colorado.
So are you guys done with the glass part?
I guess. Do we need to talk more about oil?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of chat going on about hash now.
Okay, so
let's talk about hash then.
I'm going to give you the feedback on my domeless nail hit right there real quick, though.
Go for it.
You know, I hit it right on the side of the nail there, and I didn't lose really any smoke at all, and it hit really good. So I would give it a good suggestion for a good thumbs up for my first hit.
Do you feel like it makes it a little like easier to breathe in because you're, mixing it with air, maybe diluting the oil smoke a little bit?
Not necessarily that. I always thought maybe diluting things with air, it kind of made it a little harsher for me on certain pieces. A little more air that comes in.
Yeah.
It really expanded the smoke in my lungs and hurt,
Uh-huh.
It hit really well.
Just read it.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Okay, so a question from the chat room.
Okay. So back to the ironing question.
Is this some new tech that's just like bursting out
I
in the
was
scene,
saying
or what?
with the iron technique, I wrapped 10 grams a long way in parchment and then folded it so it's fully covered. Then I used an iron.
Told you.
Okay, post a
What's the
picture of it to
what's
our
the question?
Facebook page right now.
That gets to 120 degrees. Then I iron it on both sides for a second, like a burrito.
Let me see some pictures on our Facebook page.
Pictures in that.
Just do a search for iDab Radio.
To me, 120 degree direct heat on top of hash is definitely going to not help your terpene preservation that much, though.
Maybe give it a chance to auto butter a little bit more. I think it would, if he's maybe doing it a second or two, it might not hurt it too bad, but anything over a second or two,
I don't know, maybe if you did that right before you vacked it, if you really weren't giving it that much heat, it would make it more viscous. So that,
but what's the question?
Yeah, does it work?
I believe that it works. Is it a good thing?
You tell us.
Yeah, we don't use this method, I guess.
Okay, another question. What is the difference in THC percentage between flour and BHO?
Flowers and most, when it's the best stuff on earth, will be like right around 20%.
25 to 26 now. I think what it tests at 25% now.
Maybe Kosher Kush, right?
No, I think it was Rare Dankness's weed that was on the front cover of High Times at 25.49%.
Really?
Something like that.
Very few people achieve that, though. Has to be some great genetics, coupled with a great grower to pull that off.
Like, I think some of the highest I've seen.
On average, though, like you're looking at it hovering like right around 20%. And with BHO, it starts at like the late 50s and goes up to like 80, even 90, according to some testing centers.
83, I think, would be the highest in my opinion right now. But
no, we actually got a 90 from Full Spectrum Labs once.
So I have a question for you, Dan. So after the show last week, there was, I'm not going to name any names, a picture of like what was filtered out, and he was like, "Are you spoon feeding people this? What was that?"
It was addressed by Wheezy last time, and like he's made the best argument I've heard yet. So I'm just gonna repeat what he said. If you're smoking weed, then you're smoking those same plant waxes and more. I mean, that's all you really have to say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To me, I think it looked like just a big ball of flavor. But then again, there is that health question aspect on it with your lungs. But my mouthpieces on all my pieces are clean. It seems like everything's clean around it. All my oil rigs are way cleaner than any flower piece I've ever owned. So, I don't know.
I have asthma personally, and I know that dabbing, I used to be like pretty much anti-dab for the longest time. And that was because I felt like it was more natural to do the solventless wax for a long time just for my lungs, and I would use the B-line. But I actually have learned that dabbing has actually helped me because it's more, it it's more powerful and instantaneous, and then I don't have to like smoke more like wax. I love solventless wax, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that like they're both hand in hand a lot better than flowers in my opinion, like on my lungs, I think.
I still like OG flowers. I really do.
Oh, there's no
Like
stopping.
less carcinogens, you know.
Yeah, but you know, to the people like when I was in Nebraska, they said, "Well, it's really dirty to smoke weed." I would, lead them to the link on WebMD saying actually how marijuana smokers have cleaner lungs than non-smokers. They said, I believe, on WebMD, just right on that link below.
And there is a lower instance of cancer too, but that could be attributed to a lot of different factors.
But they were saying like if you mix tobacco smoke and marijuana smoke, that's where the carcinogens really pick up. But if it's marijuana smoke alone, it was supposed to be. Sounded all good on WebMD. We'll throw the link up on the YouTube page. So
Nikka T, I have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been growing out your hair?
Someone actually asked that?
Asked that, yes.
My locks have been growing without cutting them or trimming them or anything for about 11 years now. Some of the longest ones reach a little bit past my knees.
That's some serious commitment.
Lately, they've been pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. It's been weighing on my mind. My hair has been, anyways.
I used to be one of those dudes who just like get rid of them one day, and that's it, or start over again.
I have no idea. I live every day for the present. When I focus on the future too much, or I focus on the past too much, I fall into something that I don't want to be in. So I focus on the present.
Absolutely.
So how was your experience at the San Fran Cup? Was it better than Denver, or like what was your experience of it?
You know, I don't like to make everything a competition. So for me, it was an awesome experience, just like San Francisco was an awesome experience, just like Denver was an amazing experience. For me, my experiences were a little bit different because I actually entered in the Cup here in Denver, whereas I judged the Cup in San Francisco. So, I mean, both of them had amazing perks. The one here in Denver, obviously, you know, I've got a lot of support, you know, a lot of family backing me. So Denver was great. We got to get our name out there to the patients that are actually going to benefit from our products here in Denver because they can't leave state lines. So that was really nice about Denver's Cannabis Cup. San Francisco was really cool as well because I got to do a little bit more networking and, get a little bit more exposure, doing a few radio stations and the DAB panel once again in San Francisco. San Francisco was great. I'm originally from the Bay, so I happen to know a lot of people out there as well. So both of them were comparable in my mind. As far as amount of people goes, I think that Denver had a lot more people than, say, the LA Cup. But comparing it to the San Francisco Cup, I think San Francisco might have had a little bit more people than us this year. It's hard to compare because they all had such different layouts. I don't know the exact numbers that came through the door.
So how do you feel about competing? Is that something you plan to do whenever there's a chance, or
competing
in the Cannabis Cup?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, that's friendly competition. That's industry competition. It's more about marketing and things of that nature. Yes, I'm always down to compete as far as that because I think that it reaches a larger audience. Yeah. I think that I can get my product to reach a larger audience whether I win or not. Just competing alone helps our product reach a larger audience. So I'm definitely going to continue to do that or judge. I like doing both.
How do you feel about winning the Best Non-Solvent Hash award?
It felt good. There are a few things like the fact that I don't have a nice pretty cup like this. However, I did win a first place award. Some things like that are a little iffy to me right now, but I think this year in San Francisco, Nico, myself, and Dougie from Hitman Glass were able to sit down and along with some other people and maybe even help dial in a little bit more of how the judging will be done in the future and maybe even a separate non-solvent category.
That's absolutely what needs to happen.
That needs to happen. That really needs to happen.
I'm pretty sure with the amount of time we spent talking, in San Francisco about that exact topic. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. It's in the books.
Because I seen some awesome water hash at the Cup. You know that they just need a separate thing for it. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but.
So I have another question from the chat room. What's the best flowers for solventless, and what's the best for BHO?
OG.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm obviously going to say OG as well, but it is really a personal preference. Everybody's going to have their own ailments that they're trying to, you know, help aid with different products. So, you know, different strains are going to be good for different people. As far as appearance-wise, I think some of the best strains, some of our favorite strains to process solventlessly would be, of course, the OGs, the sour diesels, the chems, the, you know, things of that nature along those lines. They have a lot of terpene content and as well as oil content.
Yeah, they're full of funk, full of smelly funk.
I love doing sativas just because they come out so pretty when they're nice and fresh. They just come out super light and see-through, and I love that. And for flavor, I mean, there's been a few surprises that we had. Like Afgoo makes amazing tasting hash, but it's not necessarily a flower that I'd like to smoke.
Well, even with the Afgoo, even the look on all the Afgoo we run, it doesn't, you know, we've had a hard time with Afgoo finishing it out as well. I mean, it tastes amazing, but nonetheless, it's a hard one to work with.
Yeah, we made a killer batch for Green Dream of it a couple weeks ago. I'm sure it's gone.
Nick, what's your favorite micron?
You know, you guys are going to get sick of me saying it depends and all these variables and all this stuff, but in reality it does. It's going to depend on the strain, the growing medium, the grower, how the trim was preserved, fresh or frozen compared to dry. I'd say on a general note, though, most people, including myself, prefer the 70 micron. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of change depending on the hash maker themselves as well, because some people will go from straight their 220 garbage bag right down to their 38 bag, and that's why their 38 bag is the best, because it's their only bag. You know, there's a lot of other variables that coincide with the extract artist themselves. So for our process and for the essential bags, we use a 220 micron for catching the plant matter, a 120 micron, a 70 micron, a 38 micron, and then we use a 25 micron on the last run. We actually replace our 38 micron with the 25. So, you know, like I said, it's going to depend on your strain, your growing medium, etc. Generally speaking, the 70 is going to be of the highest quality, but you know, there's certain strains. Our Bubba Kush, for example, produces amazing product out of the 120, and it's argued that the 120 is better than the 70 coming from the Bubba Kush. You know, there's other things. We just ran actually a batch of the Wi-Fi Alien OG. I think the Wi-Fi Tahoe and the Wi-Fi Alien mixed for Green Dream, and you know, since the trim had been sitting for so long, we weren't really able to retain any oils because there weren't really too many oils left in the product. However, you know, we get down to the 38 bag, and the 38 bag is straight oily compared to the 70 or the 120. And some would argue that that 38 bag was better than anything else in that batch.
We're actually going to have to take a break right now, but hopefully you guys can all come back for the second half. We'll be back with Vernon Phillips when by 8:05, I'd say. So thank you for listening. We'll be right back.
You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
My name is Gary Johnson. Today I reach out to you, members of all political parties. I reach out to everyone with a vote and an axe to grind. From the Tea Party, the Constitution Party, the Green and Libertarian parties. I call out to all of you, including the disaffected and disillusioned among the Republicans and Democrats. Today, there's a handful of people in Washington ruining America for 330 million of us. They've kept our nation in a state of perpetual war and increasing unsustainable debt. This small group has presided over the elimination of our Bill of Rights and the systematic dismantling of our freedoms guaranteed us under our Constitution. It is them we should be fighting, not each other. We the people will never agree on the small things, but let's agree on the big thing. Our leaders have blown it. If we don't get control of this ship together and fix it together, we all go down with it together. I ask you to join me in trying something that's never been attempted before in America. Let's put our parties and our differences aside one time. Be libertarian with me for one election. Together, we'll stop the spending and end the wars. Together, we'll rebuild our own roads, bridges, schools, and hospitals instead of building theirs half a world away. Together, we'll restore our industrial might and our economy. And if, in 4 years, we as a people decide we don't like peace, prosperity, and freedom, we can always vote tyranny back into office again. America is better and brighter than this. Be libertarian with me this one time, and I'll prove it to you. Live free.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706. Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it on grass. runongrass.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
They got my nails sticking to their domes like a toupee. We the creme de la creme like a brulee. Not a fan of all your water methods, Bobby Boucher. We've come a long way, but we're not quite there. I'm looking for another dab, I'm sick of all this nice air. They keep telling me it's bad for my health. Well, please keep your blunt wraps to yourself, man. No thanks, man. No thank you. And even these days, I think smoking joints is bad. I guess I'm spoiled by the oil which anoints my pad. But not as spoiled as you lovers of sap, who keep telling me the butter is crap. It's a civil war with my butter brothers under attack. I'm in my house with the club in the back. Bring it, fuckers. I love shatter as a matter of fact. I don't discriminate, I hit it when that dabber is packed. I hear the fear mongers, but the pressure from my peers stronger. I'll hit the butter and won't live another year longer. Point threes and I'm a near goner. Doing 3-pointers from across the table like a beer ponger. Swish! You see that jump shot? Nothing but nail. MVD. Hey yo, pass me the rock, man. I can do this shit all day. Watch this layup. Oh, here we go again. Yeah. You ain't fucking with that. Oh, you thought we was done? Ninja I heard Cali got the medicals well. Your boy Pass got electrical nails. That shit's incredible. And sometimes I get a bit ahead of myself while eating edibles. It's better for my general health and stealth. Our ship's leaving and we're raising the sail. We'll see you later. You haters will have to hate on yourselves because my team is going places. And well, I wanna see my name in the stars and my ugly face in the nail. I can do it. I'm an overachiever. I go and get it like a golden retriever. Cutting down trees. Eddie Task will always roll with a beaver. Spread it wide like an open receiver. So come hit it. I'ma show unbelievers that they had to be wrong. Don't start, you left your battery on. We done finished. I dunk dishes till my sanity's gone, then pass out when my family's long. Don't be mad at me, Mom. I've been working lots trying to get my own place. No, I haven't.
And we're back.
Sorry, y'all, but I'm
just real quick, Nikka T is going to show us how to do a solventless dab.
I need to pay attention here.
So basically, there's, like I was saying, there's a few different consistencies of the solventless. This happens to be one of the consistencies that actually does kind of stick to the dabber. Not perfectly, but it does stick to the dabber a little bit. So basically, the main idea is I'm going to get it red hot so that it evenly heats the nail first. But I am going to let it cool down a little bit. Granted, we do want to hit it a little teeny bit hotter than we would a solvent, but we still want to retain the terpenes in the rip. And basically what I did there is I put the hash onto the nail and I swirled it around just a little bit, and then I actually pulled off the dabber, leaving a little bit of the residue on the dabber and not the nail. And that's going to help us really get a clean taste of the product. If we let it just continue to burn itself out on the nail, what we're going to start to taste is a little bit of the waxes that are involved in the actual trichome head, because that's one of the main differences between the solventless and the solvent. Is the solvent is actually breaking the trichome and releasing the oils from inside the trichome, whereas our solventless hash is keeping the trichome head intact. So what we're left with is a little bit of residue on the dabber, but we get an amazing flavor out of it.
Nice. Well, now let's welcome Vernon Phillips to the show, founder of Phillips RX.
Wait. Thank you very much, Nick, for your time. I really appreciate it.
I hope that helped. There's other ways to dab solventless as well. One of the other ways is to just drop solventless rocks onto your hot nail and then take a dabber and scoop off before it's completely burned up. There's lots of ways, just like there's lots of ways to skin a cat, etc. That happens to be the way I just showed you, happens to be one of the ways I like to do it. It's an art.
Well, I used to, I don't know if anybody remembers, but I used to have this shovel, and what I would do is, like Nikka T just said, is just drop rocks on there, and it was just like, it was basically like a paddle, and then you'd heat up the end, and then you would just, it had a hole at the end, and you would just smoke it. So
glass hash paddles?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've made like
those were,
of those.
Oh my gosh, whatever, dude, for water hash, they're awesome. They get people high as
best
hell.
ones
water hash, you said you were going to drop rocks on it. What are you talking about?
Water hash, yeah, what kind of glass paddle are you using?
So yeah, I mean, that's what I used to use, is like a shovel. That's what they called it. So.
Right on.
There was one of those before that was a really good design. I forget who made it, but I think I saw it maybe on like Aqualab or Culture or something. And one of the rods was a solid rod with a flat end on it, and the other was a tube with holes poked in it, and it had a little dent on the end. And you heat up the flat rod and you put your product on the tube with the holes in it right in the middle. You heat up your flat rod and put that right on top, and then suck straight through the tube. And there's no loss of smoke whatsoever.
Kind of sounds like a hot hit pipe or something similar to that.
Just like that, yeah. Yeah, hot knife hits.
Well, let's go ahead and welcome Vernon Phillips on the show right now, founder of Phillips RX, winner of multiple Cannabis Cup awards. He's known for making the putty. Let's bring him up on Skype right now.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. Really do appreciate it.
Oh, no worries.
It's all love.
For sure.
Yeah, all love.
There you are, man. I see you. Good stuff. So, dude, what's your new project that I've been hearing about? Like, I heard you're working with the Alchemy guys.
Oh yeah, we're just they do their stuff a little hot, and I told them sit them at the cup, and they had like some of the cleanest meds I was smoking out there. Actually grabbed some and brought me some back to the house, but that stuff was just phenomenally clean, and yeah, it was lackluster in flavor, but I didn't feel it whatsoever on my lungs and my chest. That stuff is just, maybe if we could get some pure terps to add back to it or something.
I've heard about people using limonene.
Flavor. We're just trying to catch up to you guys.
Yeah, I've heard of people trying to add limonene back to the mix.
Whatever it takes. Yeah, but I always was like the slow and steady method before, but
right on.
Slow, and it preserved the terps because, like, even with the water hash, that's how all that's so tasty. Is a lot of the terps are water soluble, and they grab it, and if you leave that little bit of moisture in there, just phenomenal flavor, but not near as clean on any level as these shatters. So what we're trying to do is basically just winterize it before you put it through. Get it nice and froze for 12 to 24 hours before you pass any gas through it, and then do your gas at a nice low temperature as well. So you can leave most of them wets and fats back behind without even extracting them. And I've noticed way cleaner meds coming out, potassium out the bottom. There's no residual, hardly any waste whatsoever.
So you use the Temesium?
Yeah, Tesnesium 700. That's what I've been rocking with.
Wow, that's surprising. I've seen several people try to use it out here, but they don't get anywhere near your color or flavor.
Well, no one wants to water purge, and it's like out here, you got the people that love it, my people that love flavor, because I originally was ice water guy for 10 years. It's like that's what won 2 of my awards. I got first place just like Nikka, just for ice water, and we didn't get a cup, and it's like, I knew right then when I seen Colorado Cup swept with all solvents that our ice waters didn't stand a chance anymore, and it's like, I should have won. That's like, it's not fair, and so they made a little plaque for us, I guess, to still give us some credit. But it's kind of sad to know that even our ice waters aren't in the top 3. Well, the first year it was, but not even considered good ice water because it's some of the tastiest stuff. That's all I want is flavor. And the concentrate is going to put you on your butt regardless.
But you're saying you were able to pull excellent flavor with the Temesium?
Yeah, I've always pulled, unless you give me swag, and I give swag through it. If you give me a good product, I'm going to pull that flavor, what it smells like when I get it, it's what it's going to smell like when you get it back.
Nice. I don't know, I find when I run stuff that usually I'll actually be able to pull out more flavor from it, you know? So that it'll actually taste better than the trim smell that I got.
Oh, wow. Well, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So what did the California Hash King do for 710 yesterday?
Oh my god. I plead the fifth.
What's the biggest glob you've ever taken? Because I know you can be a sport globber.
I think probably about a little over 1 gram's the most I've ever done. But I always fat globs. I like to end it with 20 push-ups, airborne hash ranger style. I don't know about out there in that elevation, you know, but out here on the flatland.
Right on. So could you tell us a little bit about how you came into making concentrates? Because I know it's a really good story and some of our viewers probably haven't heard it yet.
Alright. Well, basically,
Oh wait, it's dab time.
Perfect.
It's 7:10 on the West Coast, so I'm gonna join you for a dab right now.
We're a little late.
Oh wait, is it? We're 4 minutes late.
Oh, look at that baller towards Nice.
Oh wow, that is a badass piece, brother.
We'll get some cheese and back up with some Mars for my double dab.
Nice.
drumstick.
Legit. Who blew that piece?
That's a Hitman piece. That's one of their
torches.
Torch tubes.
Nice.
And it has a banjo dome on it. It's pretty sick.
Awesome. So, what do you think about your new Puffin Dabs torch?
Puffin's Dabs torch. Those things are so gorgeous. They're
Aren't
beautiful. They're one in a million, that's for sure.
Yeah, I love that idea that they had when they started making these. I got to get one right away.
Yeah, like the Harawana one I got done for me. He did the cup all uniform, and then the Mars, because it was one with wax, he made it like the wax was running out of the cup. It's pretty sick.
That's badass.
So, Vern, what would you... I kind of want to ask... I asked Wheezy this question last week. What advice would you give to first-time, like, blowers?
What do they need to know?
Yeah, what's a tip that you have?
Blowers?
First-time blasters.
Yeah, blasters.
Oh. Wow. Be careful. Do it in a well-ventilated place. Make sure there's not very hot. No direct sunlight.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out?
Because everybody's burning up out here doing this crap.
Right? Is anyone getting hurt doing it outside, though?
No. Everybody's doing it inside.
Right?
They don't have Taziums. They're cooking all right on top of their stove. They might blast it outside, but then they bring it right inside. Some people are even blasting it inside. Sketch fucks.
Yeah.
No, I've always had it in closed systems, so I've been spoiled right from the start.
I seen one video where you're actually pouring it out of the Artemisium. What's that about? Like, how do you get it to just pour out?
Well, I leave about 1 can of butane left in there as my transfer solvent instead of putting the isopropyl. Because I always noticed with isopropyl it just had a little funkier flavor than when it was just plain tang.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind leaving a little extra tang. Because I water purged right after that, so I would take some 98 degree to 100 degree water, put it right on top of it as I poured it out of the Tazium, pour that cup slowly in there, and it would be like a volcano. But 3 cups of that and the amount of bubbles, and it would almost solidify on top, depending on the strand. Like Royal Kush, within 5 minutes, it was like Rice Krispie treats on top of the water, floating hard already. A lot of them would stay more oily, and you'd have to let it sit for like 10 to 12 hours firm, and then you peel it off just like a fruit roll-up. So basically, the majority of the tang was purged right then, and then you just spend your time getting the moisture out. But taste, that's why I've always done that.
I got a quick question for Vern. Doesn't it defeat the purpose of using an enclosed system like a Artemisium if you're leaving a whole can's worth of butane in your tank before you fully purge it? I mean, because to me it's the same dangers of having an open system.
Yeah, but it's only 1 can, and it's diluted with 12 cans of blasted worth of oil, so the oil outweighs the gas. So, like, if you had a fire, it would just be a minute flash fire.
But if you can pour it, there's solvent in open air, correct?
Yeah, but you always got to be in a well-ventilated area. I've always had excellent exhaust fans if I ever done anything inside. No, it's a gas. You have to be super careful with it, but 1 can of gas is a minute amount versus to get the amount of oil. I'm pulling up to 73 grams of oil for 1 can of gas to be my transfer solvent. That ain't shit. That's not that much. There's way more oil there than gas. So it's not that volatile. It's volatile, but it's not nearly as volatile.
Have you ever had any kind of
gas in
accident or anything like that?
Way more gas to oil ratio. Way more explosive, more inflammatory.
Have you ever had any kind of accident?
I might have 1 flash fire, and that was when I started doing the alchemy method. It's because you're using you gotta heat it up on a heating element, on a heat stove or a heat element, something like that. And I had a hot plate, and so basically I had that, and it's evaporating the isopropyl. I mean the grain alcohol. I'm sorry. The alchemy method, they use grain alcohol and the isopropyl. and it was evaporating that, and then I had my water purge stuff that was just sitting right next to it, and I hadn't even water purged it. It was just stuff with a little bit of gas in it, probably like Nikka T was just referring to. Yeah, it's dangerous because that's why it caught on fire. But I did close to 1,000 batches water purge, never had a problem. 4 batches unwater purging, had a flash fire.
Wow.
Water purge is where it's at for me.
Really, and that's what makes the kind of paste or whatever, the putty, is the fact that you're purging with water?
With moisture in it.
Hold on a second, man. Your sound's coming in and out.
Who?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So what was the question I just asked him?
So basically, how did you get started in this hash making? Like, what really decided, like, this is what you are meant to do?
Well, I was diagnosed in 2005 with a brain tumor, and like I was able not to work anymore. They put me on Dilantum, Tegretol. They had me on 1,600 or 12 or 1,600 milligrams a day of Tegretol at the time, right before my brain surgery. And like 2 years after, I was still having the seizures, the grand mal seizures, and my neurologist was telling me, he's like, Vernon, he's like, I know it's weird to say, but you might be dwelling, making yourself have all these seizures because you're dwelling on being sick. And I was like, well, it's kind of hard to take your mind off of it when you're stuck at home 24/7. You lose your driver's license, blah, blah, blah. Basically lost everything, and it's like just growing my 6 little plants and with my little 1 gallon bubble bag kit, making my little personal bubble for my head. Seeing the flowers weren't cutting it for me anymore, and slowly just put in more and more of my flowers and trim. All became ultimately all my flowers to make my hash, because the flower doesn't cut anymore, but the hash obviously took my mind off of being epileptic. Wasn't dwelling on it anymore. Next thing, 6 months without a seizure, able to get the driver's license back, wouldn't say fully functional to society, but I am able to contribute back to society. I help sick people like myself, and the putty is, I don't know, it's great for people feel high stress. So it might not be the healthiest method, but when you're got a terminal illness or you're on death's bed, you don't give a fuck about how healthy something is. You just want to not worry about something. If you can take 1 puff of something and it takes all your worries away, versus, I would compare it to an illicit drug, because it's that fucking powerful. You can take 1 puff and take all your cares and worries away, no matter how heavy they are. And that's how powerful that medicine is. Why it became my life, and it's my passion. It's because I don't want to be the only one to say, oh, it helped me. I want to see it help as many people as I can, because I know it is wonderful. And you don't need to be on them pills. You don't need to be their zombie. You don't need to ever be able to let them tell you, oh, you're never going to be able to drive again, blah, blah, blah. Do whatever the fuck you want. Stay positive.
Nice, there's a little delay in the video, so when you stop talking, I'm not always aware of it.
That was really inspiring. Thank you very much, Vern. Wow.
And Brittany, did you enjoy that sour strawberry you got a taste? Have you ever tasted a solvent that tasty, by the way?
Oh, sorry. Ask her again.
I don't have any headphones, Vern. Ask me again.
The sour strawberry kush I let you smoke in LA, was that a delightful flavor for you?
Oh my gosh, that was the best hash I had out there, I'll be honest with you. You came up with like a dish and it was just like full. I was like, whoa, you blew me away. It was awesome. Are you ever gonna make a trip out here to Denver?
Yes, I would love to be a judge out there. I'm working on that.
Next year. Are you going to the one in Seattle?
Working on that as well.
Yeah, Seattle. Cool. Those are always like reunions.
Yes, they are. High Times, it's a great group of people.
Yes, they are. Did you go to the San Francisco Cup this year?
Yes, and we had I entered a bunch of one of my best growers and stuff, and we didn't place or nothing. But we entered some of this Royal Kush concentrate, like through the number potency wise, but it was no flavor, just all potency. It was so potent, all the terps were gone. I was hoping to get a bronze with that at least, but.
I was just about to say that usually when you win a cup, it's kind of like being the president. You know, you win and you're the first. You know, like you go down in history. So, props to you for being awesome, Vern.
Thank you, and you as well.
And I don't know if you feel this way, but I just felt like after we won the one for Top Shelf at the Denver Cup, like I really felt like I could just go without winning one again. I mean, you have it, you won it, There's nothing else to prove. Let someone else get the glory next time. Although we'll be competing still.
You say that now.
Yeah.
And it's like 30 days before the event, you're like, your competitive juices, you're like, oh man, I gotta whip up a batch really quick.
Yeah, there's just nothing like it, man, going up on stage for that.
That adrenaline rush, right?
Yeah.
So, Vern, what's one of your favorite strains to work with and why?
Well, Harawana, and we've had it in Sacramento for close to 10 years now. She's just been a phenomenal ice water strand. Like she's a little more potent in the ice water than she is in a oil form.
Is Vern speaking of Harawana or the Harawana OG that me and Dan were speaking of earlier?
No, just Harawana.
Just Harawana, okay.
No OG involved in it. This is a sweet flavored one. It has no earthiness to it. It's just super frosty. I gave a cut of it to TGA and MTG seeds as well as the Mars because they're both large-scale seed people, and I want them strands out there to the medical patients. So I hope they both do wonders with them.
Are you doing any CBD work now?
What's that?
Are you doing any work with CBDs now?
So, Vern,
anytime anybody could get me in that trim, I love CBD.
You have this epic
That's actually
picture.
the best medicine for me by far.
Vern, you have this epic picture. I'll never forget. I still have it, and it's basically like 20 grams of Harlequin. It's like just this giant ball of Harlequin. What was that like working with it? And when I show people, it's like, it's so just dark and gooey. Like, why is it that consistency?
Actually, all of them, it wasn't gooey. They were like, it was like a super, super hard molasses frozen. If it had stickiness on the outside, that was the sugars. That's just because I mill everything to get it to fit in the Tezia. You have to grind it up into basically powder form, so you're going to get a bunch of sugar. So all of them will always be like attacking. But that Harlequin, the Sour Tsunami, all of them batches were like 38 grams to 45 grams, I think, out of half a pound, and they all came out like rock. Tasted like a sour grape, not a sour grape, but a cherry soft lifesaver.
What did the stuff test at?
The Sour Tsunami in acid form was at 60% CBD, so 38.7, I think, burnt away. And that material was only 7.7% CBD, the material I made it out of. And so the shit that they just won the cup with 18% CBD, I know I could hit some 80s CBD. That would be phenomenal.
We just got a chance to work with some with Sour Tsunami, right, Ryan?
UBC Chemo is what it was.
UBC
Isn't
Chemo?
it like,
That was the
go ahead.
highest CBD strain I think we've worked with lately.
Huh. And there was that Natural Mystic stuff too, the Sour Tsunami. It just ended up being like super. Oh, Tora Bora, that's it. Yeah, it ended up being like super runny, and I hear a lot of people that, make oil out of high CBD strains end up with something similar.
Yeah, I don't know. All my CBD strands, I always had water purged when I did them, so they were like rock candy. They were hard, and they were like water resistant versus the THC rich ones. They're a little more water soluble. They absorb it a little bit more. They wanted nothing to do with the water.
Nick, have you ever worked with made water hash out of a high CBD strain?
No, I've been waiting. In fact, I just brought a whole bunch of high CBD strains into our warehouse very soon after the San Francisco Cannabis Cup for some odd reason that happened to be the timing. But yeah, no, we just brought a bunch in, so I'm really excited to work with a bunch of CBD strains. The most I've worked with is our Oaksterdam OG, which happens to hit like 3 to 5% CBD in the flower form.
Really?
And I haven't seen what pure Oaksterdam OG hits in our concentrate form. But it's rare because it's an OG with CBD, so I love it.
Yeah, I'll still go with the Marijuana.
But isn't it like
Marijuana even has less CBD than the Oaksterdam, but it does hit just a little bit compared to most OGs, which hit none.
Like, what is the Oaksterdam cut actually? Because I know that, you know, it was a cut obtained somehow and they used it from there.
I don't know the story behind it. I know that it came from the Oakland area, and we have it now. That's all I know, and I enjoy it.
Vern, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Vern, where can we find your product if we would like to have some?
At the cup.
No, like, there's people in the chat room wanting to know where they could maybe possibly find some of your product.
Unity in Sacramento, they carry my product. Other than that, it's a bunch of private, like, delivery services, people that want to grab it and hoard it. But they keep the price down as long as it stays $40 and under to the patient. That's all I care about.
So is it still Phillips RX?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. Yeah, we try to keep our prices low for our patients too, and you know, everybody. I think 40 is the most expensive place, but they get every penny for it because it's so awesome. What's that?
Well, it goes for up to $100 a gram out here on the regular. Like when I first started buying it, like 10 years ago at the 3rd floor in Oakland, it was $100 for BHO, and I didn't know nothing about a nail or coal. I learned all that shit at the High Times Cut. I was smoking a little dab on top of my flower, melt it down, and let it get me like 10 hits off the bowl instead of 2 or 3. And I was like, this is where it's at.
Yeah, you do the same thing. That's so funny. I thought I was.
We used to actually, my friend Isaac told me about this method back in the day for smoking his oil. One of the first ones I got. He'd actually smoke the bowl until it was all ashy, like drip 1 drop right in the middle of it, and then just hit it hard with a lighter. Yeah, it tasted nasty, but wow, it totally worked. But hey, we have to take a break for about 5 minutes. We'll be back with Vernon and Nikka T right after these messages.
The Clinic is proud to announce the 3rd annual Clinic Charity Classic Golf Tournament benefiting the Colorado MS Society. The tournament will be held at City Park Golf Course this coming August 11th. There will be some incredible prizes, including an opportunity to win a trip for 2 to Hawaii. The trip includes airfare, 8 days, 7 nights at the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua, including 4 rounds of golf and $1,500 spending cash. Thanks to the incredible support of Weed Maps, Hetty Glass, Rocky Mountain Hydro, T. Meyer & Stitch, Dixie Elixir, and MMJPrinting.com, we're able to provide awareness to this incredibly difficult condition that so many Coloradans are suffering from. The event will be covered extensively by our favorite industry media outlets, Culture Magazine, The Hemp Connoisseur, Kush Magazine, and of course the amazing people at iCannabis Radio. Please register at thecliniccolorado.com or at any of our 6 convenient locations throughout the Denver metro area.
California's Attorney General has determined that the Repeal Cannabis Prohibition Act will save hundreds of millions of dollars from our overburdened justice system while creating hundreds of millions in new tax revenues from new sustainable jobs and industries that are friendly to our environment. But we can't do it without your help. We are seeking your donations to get on the ballot. Please go to repealcannabisprohibition.org to learn more about how you can help. It's time to end the war on cannabis and hemp in California. It's time to end the madness. Paid for by Sensible Californians Incorporated.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com. Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Weed. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley Brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we're coming back with Vernon Phillips right now, and we're going to just spend the last 15 minutes or so talking about how the new movement within the 710 movement is for this for washed BHO. So we actually did a poll not too long back, Top Shelf Extracts did, to see if people were more interested in flavor or in cleanliness, and most people said that if they had to choose one or the other, they'd actually choose flavor. Why are you moving toward wash concentrates?
I'm just trying to cover all the bases. There's people that can't handle it, the waxes, and just when you physically see it with your eye, visually see it with your eye, you're like, wow, that's a lot of wax. And it's like an engram in your head. When you burn it, you're like, oh, this is kind of dirty. This is kind of dirty. So that's in the back of your head. But when you don't smack your lips after you hit it, it's kind of a waste of hitting it.
Yeah, I feel you there.
So with what you guys won with, was that washed?
No, it wasn't. It was full flavor. Awesome. It was just purged in a vacuum oven.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and I've seen this wash stuff myself, and I'm pretty impressed with it too, just because of the clarity. And if it comes from a really, really flavorful strain, like let's say Jilly Bean, for instance. I don't know if you ever worked with any of that.
Yes.
But it has such a distinct flavor. It'll actually come through the wash, and it'll be muted for sure, but it'll still have a lot of that flavor.
Wow.
I don't know. I think we're going to stick with making butter and shatter just because that's what our client base really wants, but we're starting to experiment with winterization.
Well, the winterization, you can still make the butters with it because it's still going to leave a little bit of the wax. So I made a batch today that buttered up on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you show the people at home?
Go ahead.
Can you show the people that are watching right now?
Oh, the batch?
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, is there any recapture system that you can run to reuse your butane?
Actually, he uses a Temesium, and next week on the show we're gonna have somebody from Emotech Labs.
Well, I would say like a honeycomb texture.
Somebody in the chat room actually was talking about the honeycomb.
Pull the picture up a little bit, Vernon. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, we can't see it.
There we go. So how much is that there that you have there?
About 22 grams.
22 grams. Was that from a full run, or was that from just how much?
Yeah, that was from a half a pound.
So we were talking about our yield earlier with like high leaf stuff, like high sugar leaf stuff. We're getting 15-20%. What are you getting out of your Tammy?
The best I've got is close to 30. I've got 72 grams out of a half a pound one time. That was using the heating jackets, but I've steered away them because I still want the flavor, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Is basically just like winterize it, so I'm able to get as much wax as I can out, and you could still, like the ones you see me post on Facebook where you could see through, them are so tasty. And so I'm just trying to get where you can have some flavor with cleanliness, and I believe that's what you guys have already achieved out there. Haven't been out there yet.
Yeah, you got to come out here sometime. But we're just vacuum purging it in a really good oven with a really strong pump, and we're not doing any kind of wash on it at all, and it still comes out pretty clean. And one thing that we found that was kind of strange was the guy who actually introduced me to winterization. His name's Common Canna online. He showed me his stuff, and yeah, I was kind of won over just because of the smoothness.
Yeah, it was super smooth on my part, but I figured that without the taste is even with good herbs, I really want a good taste because I don't want something that doesn't taste good and does the job. But I'd rather have it's kind of a 50-50 for me.
Do you guys feel that the terpenes are in and of themselves medicinal?
The terpenes themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be, because like when the Mars won the cup last year, it was only 51% THC. Swerve shit was 67%, got third place. The Mars just had so many terpenes, and that's what they're getting into now. Is that the terpenes are modulating your receptors in your brain, helping you absorb the THC at different rates, different parts of your body. So how does the 51%er knock them down on the ground harder than a 67%er? It's because the 67%er had very, very minimal terps versus the Mars was coated with terps. So yeah, it's making your medicine hit you quicker. So yeah, I would consider it medicinal.
Flavor is very key to me. I believe you're right on that.
I mean, people actually there's something called aromatherapy. There has to be something to it.
I'm pretty sure some labs are coming out with more testing on terps and what they actually do for people.
And I don't know, if terpenes make the medicine go down easier for people, the actual good flavor, then, it's hard for me to say. Like, I just don't want to sacrifice the flavor just yet.
Well, do you want shitty tasting cough syrup, or do you want Jolly Rancher tasting cough syrup? It's up to you,
Yeah.
This is OG tasting cough syrup.
Nice. They should come up with that flavor.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your Mars OG pictures you post online. Is it consistently on that browner color on the Mars OG, or do you ever get any kind of differences in color on it?
It's golden blonde when it's fresh.
Nice.
It gets brown after we've had it for a month and been smoking on it. It's normally like gold, like honey, really bright yellow. It's one of the lighter strands. Go ahead.
So do like all your product that comes out of the Tammy, is it more of a putty? Do you ever get it to harden up, to like butter up, like people like the butter or the honeycomb like you were just showing? Do you get it to butter up, or does it stay a putty consistency throughout?
You can get it to whatever you want, but people have always liked the putty texture because it's easy to dab. So I've always made the putty.
I see. I haven't gotten a chance to try putty yet, but I'm pretty excited to hopefully get out to California to try the putty. I don't think we see much putty out here. Is there any dispensaries selling it?
If it's a putty consistency out here, they usually try to call it peanut butter, and it's usually brown as hell, smells and tastes like old trim, and it's just no good. A lot of times it's like butane soup.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures posted lately of that peanut butter butane soup.
But I actually heard of someone do you think the putty consistency comes more from your water purge technique?
Yeah, it's because you're whipping it so much to get the moisture out of it. So yeah, it's because you're overagitated. Any way you go, if you put it in the vac, you're pulling terps out. If you whip it, you're losing terps. Any way you do it, you're going to lose terps. Sad but true.
Yeah, there's actually a guy in LA, the guy I learned most of my techniques from at first. He just uses the old school Hashmaster cut tech where he purges on hot water and only blasts like 20 to 28 grams at a time. And that stuff, like he preserves more terps than anyone else's stuff that I've tried so far. It's ridiculous.
I felt like I was at Casa Bonita for half a second there. What the hell's going on?
Felt like there's about to be a duel or something.
Well,
yeah, we just want to say thank you for coming on the show, Vern.
yeah, thank you for even being a part of it, and thank you for having us.
We appreciate it. Like anytime a hash master like yourself's willing to share his techniques with the world, you know.
Absolutely, we appreciate it. All oil love to you, Vern.
Thank you guys much for having me. You guys have a great night.
You too.
Yep, take care.
Peace.
Great. So I just want to tell you guys about our next show. It's going to be all about closed systems. We're going to have Giddy Up. He's the person who's behind the OB1 extractor. It's also a closed loop system. A little bit more, hardware involved than the Thamesium extractor, and he's going to break down the whole process and show some of the product he's made with it.
Yeah, wait till you hear about the return system on this. I mean, how quick you can get it out of there.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of my major concerns with the Thamesium. Like Vern said, leaving a little bit of the solvent left behind it makes it possible to pour it out. Otherwise, you're going to be scraping it with a spatula.
Yeah, I believed what he said was right with the one can. I don't think that would be so dangerous as anything else. Butane, it seems to cook off at 37 degrees, they say. So I believe he's all right with the one can.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to trying some of that, though.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say thank you to all the listeners and
Definitely.
to everyone that participated in the chat room. It was
Gotta say what's up to Grice.
Yeah, if anyone wants to have a shout out right now, I just want to say thank you, to everyone that listens and was on Stickum and everything, and just supports Top Shelf and the clinic and Nikka T and Pink House and everything. It's just a huge blessing to even be a part of this movement. Really, it is, and every show just gets better. So, if you keep supporting us, hopefully we'll stick around.
Shout out to Mad Rob for the baller ass birthday piece.
Oh my God, that's your birthday piece, dude?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. Dude.
Hey, one more thing about our...
I actually want one of those.
Whoa.
One more thing about our competition. We are running the competition on the iDab radio Facebook page. Whoever got the most epic dab picture, and I'm talking like awesome backgrounds on a waterfall in the mountains, something
Mid-air.
like that, midair on a plane. You're going to win a dish that got entered into the Cannabis Cup, which won first place. Same kind of dish. So get those pictures on that page.
Yeah, well, one thing's kind of funny. We decided to go with the dish because, we didn't know if we were going to win or not when we entered the Cannabis Cup out here, but we knew for a fact we were going to make sure that they remembered us. So we had a local glassblower, his name's LK, make us, 25 dishes. And we picked 20 of them to put the entries in and submitted them. And at this latest Cannabis Cup in San Francisco, there were 6 entries that were submitted in glass dishes.
Yeah, it's all about the presentation.
It really is.
And the product.
We are just blessed. So thank you, everyone, for listening.
Keep the questions coming. We really enjoyed all the questions into Nikka T tonight, so they were great questions. Keep up the good work with that.
All the feedback is much appreciated.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure you guys realize we're not professional radio personalities, but
just a couple of hash makers trying to be on the radio.
We just really wanted a show like this where we brought in, prominent hash makers, people with knowledge to come out here and share it in this forum and just connect with the community more.
Happy birthday, Robert.
What's that?
Happy birthday, dude.
Ricardo won.
Saturday.
Happy
Ricardo
birthday,
won. He asked for a
Earl.
shout out,
Birthday. Birthday dabs for you, man.
Who did you say was on 8:10 our time next week?
Oh, next week, it's going to be Jake Hid Dabs, a major glass collector.
Oh,
you could say that he's like a like a scene setter. I mean, everybody in this movement knows who this dude is. He was one of the first people to ever take a dab and post it on YouTube.
BHO Films, that's J-Kid Dabs, isn't it? BHO Films?
Yeah, that's his company.
That is, he's always taking awesome big fat BHO OG dabs right out of his Toro pieces, isn't that him?
Yeah, he's the major Toro collector for sure.
Okay, yeah, that collection's pretty sweet.
And he's an oil and butter group. So.
Yeah, he started the oil.
Yeah.
We love oils and butters.
So, shout out to J-Kid.
Nice.
Can't wait to see you next weekend.
Check out some of that awesome glass.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna have to do a lot of cleaning this week. And who's our glass guest for next week?
Next week, I believe we actually are. We're going to be having Mad Rob on the show next week.
Nice. I like Mad Rob.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And he's blowing up right now too. I'm seeing him all over Facebook, Borough Market.
Well,
I mean,
he's straight crushing it right now too. I mean, him and all the guys down. He's working down at Kind Creations. Everyone over there is crushing it, man. I spent many of evenings down there watching some dudes get sick. So there's gonna be some nasty shit coming at you from that shop for sure. And hopefully we could get some more of those guys on the show. So.
Who else works there at Kind Creations?
It was there's Worm. It's his spot down there, and then Weirder's up there. Let's see. I was in there the other night. Bates was in there. I was like, wow, that was cool as hell. Trying to think, who else? You got me on the spot here.
I think you've dropped enough pretty awesome names there. You
they-
don't have to impress us anymore.
So, do you personally own a honey hole yet, Phil?
Yes, I do. Joel Halen graced me with one. It's badass. They are legit. I'll bring it in next week. We'll hit it on the show.
You know, I've heard it's hard to season the honey hole. You know, I've heard a lot of people say it takes a while.
It's huge.
It's awesome.
It takes a minute, but once you get it going, man,
You could take such big dabs on it. It's
Monsters.
like, woo!
Okay, so I know someone's probably already thought of this, but what about a titanium honey hole?
It's already there. It's the domeless nail.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the domeless nail.
Pretty
for
much
sure.
the same thing.
But it's like a nail with like a funnel in the middle, with a hole in the middle, so it just sucks it down. Actually, the guy who invented it is the first person to ever give me a job in the medical marijuana industry as a bud tender.
That's what the honey hole has, too, is the hole straight down the middle, though, too. So it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So someone's calling me out in the chat room right now.
They're calling you out?
Yeah, basically they said they don't know what is the point of having a non-extract artist in the show because I don't blow BHO for a living.
You blow it out your
make
mouth.
water hash or I mean I'm just a water hash and BHO and every type of hash enthusiast. So I mean, yeah, I've been a connoisseur of flowers, if anything, and just been around it. So
hello, it's Miss High Times.
To ever take a dab on national television.
I mean,
That's all I'm saying.
on international television, I mean,
you took a dab.
I pretty much, took a dab and hit the shovel. And you know what?
You don't have to explain yourself. Who cares?
I just feel like
anybody who knows who you are,
Damn.
knows you have a good place right here with us.
Mad respect to you for calling that out. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's it for this show.
For the show.
Thank you so much for joining us again.
Yep.
Looked like we had a pretty big response in the chat room tonight, which was cool. We really do want your questions. We really do want to try our best to answer as many of them as possible on the air. So,
and we really do need to have Nikka T on for 2 hours instead of the time he was. We need more time with that guy to pick his brain a little bit more on that water hash.
Definitely.
Just too damn good.
I figure we have like 2 or 3 months before we have to recycle, I guess.
I don't know. I could have Nikka T back in like 3 weeks, explain a little more. We just didn't cover enough with him.
Yeah. But, you guys tell us what you think on the Facebook page and
who do you want to see?
YouTube channel. Like, should we bring Nikka T back for like just a full Nikka T 2-hour show?
We're gonna have 45 comments on our page saying hell yes.
Extract artists unite. All right, you guys. Thank you for your time.
Y'all have a great night. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Who's on with a piece of paper and pen to defeat the fakers? I'll send you to meet your maker. I see you trying as hard as you can. Well, keep trying, but realize that you dying was part of the plan. And these days, there's not a lot I care about. Nope, so I don't keep my lips zipped, I just blare it out. And if it ain't where you're from, it's your whereabouts. Well then, fuck the block, I represent.